by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf alongside Nick Wright, Kevin Wilds. We've got Chris Broussard with us on a Tuesday morning. Coming up, guess who's telling the world not to bet against Cam Newton? Are the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the sleeper pick this NFL season? We'll let you know who's saying that. And will 3 months off help or hurt LeBron James when the NBA does indeed return? And speaking of returns, that's where we start this morning. We are getting closer to the league's expected return date of July 31st. Still 2 months away, though. What that will look like remains to be seen. Adrian Wojnarowski reported yesterday that a 22-team model with a play-in situation is expected to overwhelmingly pass during Thursday's vote. Nick, I know it's not your favorite proposal, but you got to be happy you're getting the NBA back, right?
Well, you know what, Jenna, that's the perfect lead-in, because I haven't done an about-face on this, but I've decided to change the way I'm looking at this slightly, in that I was concerned about the NBA shaking the snow globe too much. I was vehemently opposed to the silly group stage idea. It looks like that's not going to happen. So I've decided that, especially right now in a time where we need some type of good news, some type of good cheer, I'm all in on this. I support this entirely. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to parse it. I'm not going to tweak it and say, you know what, this could have been better. Baseball doesn't even know if they're going to be able to play. Their players and owners are arguing, understandably, on the players' behalf about the owners potentially going back on an agreement, but still, we don't know if their season's going to happen. The NBA's got great leadership from Adam Silver, great leadership from the union and its star players, and what I was most concerned about, Wilds, is fairness here. And I realized this morning when I was thinking about it that I should really only be worried about the fairness for the 13 teams in the league this year that have winning records. If you're under 500, as the Nets are, as the Magic are, as the Grizzlies are, three teams that right now would be in the playoffs, that in this format could end up being out of the playoffs, I don't really feel badly for you. As long as the top 7 teams in the West who are above 500 and the top 6 teams in the East, those 13 teams are going to be in the playoffs either way, as I think they will be in this format, then I'm good with it. If you're under 500 through 65 games, you only have yourself to blame if you end up missing the postseason. So I don't think anyone's going to be really screwed here, even if Memphis feels like their situation's a little more precarious than it was. So I'm good with it. I'm happy that they have kind of split the baby here to a degree, not only just limiting it to 16, not bringing all 30. The 22 teams resume the regular season in part, have a play-in to figure out the last couple playoff spots. I'm fine with it, Kevin Wilds.
That's great. I'm surprised to hear you say that, Nick, but I like it. I wish we could fast forward a few months and see if you'll like it when the Lakers are down 3-1 to the revamped Portland Trail Blazers, because I think the Blazers are the biggest winner in all of this. Currently, they are 29-37. But look, Dame says, first of all, Dame did a great job of saying he's not playing meaningless games, and I actually think he moved the meter and moved some public thought on whether or not the Blazers should come back, and now they're going to be back, and they're going to be great. He said that Zach Collins is coming back. He said Nurkic is coming back. So while all these teams that you talked about, Sacramento, Memphis, Phoenix is going to play San Antonio, you know what these teams are. You don't know who the Blazers are. You're actually going to play last year's Blazers that went 45-27 with Nurkic, plus Hassan Whiteside, plus Melo. So, Nick, I'm glad you had a about face on this, and you're pro this proposal. But I think you're going to be very worried when you look up and Damian Lillard's doing that like mean face to the camera because he hit another game-winning shot against the Lakers, Broussard.
Wild, stop it. This is not a battle rap, all right? The Dame Dollar, okay, they might play in. I get it. He's good. Nurkic and all these guys will be back. But the Lakers, they're going to challenge the Lakers. They will go out in the first or second round, even if they do make the playoffs. So let's not build up the Blazers too much. And, Nick, that was a great soliloquy that you gave at the beginning of the show. You could have just said, Broussard convinced me yesterday. that the 22-game playing is the best way to go. This is great. Look, I do feel for Oklahoma City's owner, Clay Bennett. You know, it's reported he made a passion plea to the league that, hey, these small market teams, we need to get our players in front of the fans again. We can't be off for 8 or 9 months. It's going to hurt us in sponsorship and excitement and things like that. But the fact is, a lot of those players on those bottom teams that would have no shot at making the playoffs are not motivated to come back and play 5, 6 to 8 regular season games that are meaningless, and they risk injury. So as much as he was making some sense, I think this is the smart move. Everyone that comes back will be motivated. That decreases the chances of injury when players are really invested, not only physically, but mentally. And this play-in tournament, I get what you're saying, Nick, about fairness. But look, it's going to be a March Madness type thing to me. And we never worry about the fairness with that. You know, if Carolina goes 30-1 in the regular season and then loses to a 7 seed in March Madness, we don't worry about fairness. So I think this is going to be incredibly exciting. You will have, think about it, you're going to have Damian Lillard, you're going to have Zion, you're going to have Ja, maybe Luka, and, you know, heck, maybe Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, depending on, you know, how the league does the play-in. All of these guys could be in that type of tournament. So I think it's going to be incredibly exciting, and I like this proposal.
All right, so a couple things. One is on the Blazers. The idea, pardon me, the idea that the Blazers are all of a sudden going to be some dangerous team, it should be noted. The Blazers' big three, if you will, this season, Dame, CJ, and Whiteside, all played right around 60 games. And they're below 500. They're 29-37. I have the utmost respect for Damian Lillard, but he is supposed to be one of the 10 best players in basketball, certainly one of the 12 best players in basketball. He's had CJ alongside him for 90% of the season. The fact that not having Zach Collins or Nurkic is why you're 8 games under 500 when you have had Whiteside, that ain't great. And so I don't buy into that Portland all of a sudden is going to flip a switch and be super dangerous. And here is the potential butterfly effect of this, Broussard, that I think people are like, well, could Zion make it? If he doesn't make it, Ja's going to be there. Oh, Portland. What about Portland? They would be fun. They were Western Conference finalists next year. Don't be shocked if we wake up from this play-in and the boring old great coach San Antonio Spurs have found their way into the playoffs, and now we don't get Ja, we don't get Zion, we don't get Dame, but a team that one would imagine will be able to deal with this upheaval better than any team in basketball because they're so well coached, because of the infrastructure, and because right now they're as close in the standings as Portland and New Orleans are. If they end up being the team that is the 8 seed, don't be shocked if all of a sudden we're like, oh, Kyrie and KD could be in for the first round. Yeah, or Brooklyn, who's right now in the playoffs, could find themselves out of the playoffs, and it's like, oh, glad we get Washington in there instead. Like, this doesn't necessarily go the exact way you, like, I don't want to say the media, but the television partners and want it to, as far as adding more eyeballs, Broussard, to the opening part of the reopening of the NBA season.
Look, you make a good point. It could definitely be San Antonio. And I'll throw something else at you. If they have to play in for the 7th and the 8th seeds, you could lose Luka. Dallas is in 7th and should definitely be in the playoffs. They're 10 or 11 games ahead of the 9th seed in the West, so they should be in. But if they play in and they lose, you lose out on the next, one of the next budding superstars in the league in Luka. So I hear where you're coming from, but remember, Nick, the play-in, even if the Spurs and the Wizards, somehow get in the playoffs, the play-in is going to be excitement regardless of who wins because of all those names and all those young stars that'll be in it. once you get to the playoffs, even if it is San Antonio, they'll be facing as an 8th seed, maybe they'll be facing the Lakers. So we're going to watch and be into it because once the playoffs start, then you've got the legitimate contenders playing as well. So I hear where you're coming from, but I'm not concerned about that putting a damper on the excitement.
Hey, Broussard, I'm going to ask you this for two reasons. One, because I like to see the pained look on Nick's face that he doesn't have an official NBA vote on MVP or Rookie of the Year. The second one, I'm actually interested. We talk so much about, if Zion got the Pelicans to the playoff, maybe he could be Rookie of the Year. No, he didn't play enough games. Well, now the whole schedule is scrambled, and I feel like we're almost starting fresh. Do you think if Zion does a great job in these few warm-up games and then the play-ins and is able to either get them to the playoffs, or is there anything Zion can do to get your MVP vote? Oh, sorry, not MVP, I'm sorry, Rookie of the Year.
You mean Rookie of the Year, right, Rookie of the Year. No way. No, and I did just talk to the league a couple days ago about this. I'm excited about these votes. They want to get people thinking about them again. But no, part of what is the saying? The best ability is availability. There is no way you can win Rookie of the Year playing like a third of the season. It just can't happen. Patrick Ewing won Rookie of the Year playing like 50 games. That's the least amount ever. But it's not going to happen. Ja Morant was great. Maybe if there wasn't a player playing as well as Ja Morant had, then maybe. But I even doubt it then. You just need to play a certain number of games and play at least half the season, if not more, to get in